Hi, my name is Sarah, and I wanted to take a quick moment to share with you my experience in Ethiopia. Whenever we think of Ethiopia, we think of famine, of children that are dying, of disease. And when we went there, we did see all of this. We landed in the capital city, Addis Ababa, and it really did break my heart whenever I saw little children walking through the streets, selling different items just to get by, mothers sitting in the middle of the streets with their babies, crying because they had no food. And so the poverty level was staggering. It was very high. And it's very sad. But in the midst of all of that, the people there are so friendly and so kind.
So we were there for about a month, and we taught them about the medical missionary work so that they can be missionaries anywhere they go. There were about 25 young people that came from all over the country. They learned to prepare their bodies for God's use and even heal others through the natural ways. They also learned about true education and how to start a ministry or a business for God's kingdom. And through the education, they started to become inspired because in the beginning, they felt hopeless. They thought there was nothing great they can do in their situation, that they felt limited and they didn't know much. But through the true education, their eyes were open to see the fullest potential they could achieve through God. They started to use whatever was in their hands, and no matter how inadequate it may seem, they simply gave it to the Lord for Him to bless it. And they also saw how they could work together. And by uniting with one another, they saw a greater power that lies with unity, power that lies with the one who knows no failure.
I was at the orphanage there, and there was a little girl who really caught my attention. She was sitting next to me, and she wouldn't leave my side the entire time. And I could really tell that she really wanted to give me something. And of course, she didn't have anything to give me. But she was really thinking, and she looked down on her jacket. And on her jacket was a bunch of little jewels. And she looked down, and I can see, this light bulb go off in her head. And she started to pick the jewels, and she gave it to me one by one. And she gave me 5 jewels. I still have them, actually. And I can tell you that is the best gift I've ever gotten in my entire life. So, of course, these little gems, there's no real value to the gems, but I still keep them. And I'll try to keep them as long as I can, because this is a reminder of the gratitude of this little girl. I was there spending time with her, and this is the spirit of all of the young people that we were able to interact with while we were there.
What I saw was a great awakening. When I went to different churches, preaching the Word of God, showing them that God had a great purpose for their lives, that every individual had a greater work prepared for them. Many of them, hearing the words of God, repented of their old ways, now willing to do what God asked of them. They were on fire, wanting to hasten the coming of Christ and no longer live in sin. Their decisions encouraged me and inspired me. Despite the situation they were living in, they were willing to sacrifice for a greater cause. Now, I took some time to think about this, and it actually made me very ashamed, because I live a very comfortable life in America compared to them. And yet, I spent so much time, money, and energy trying to please myself doing the things that I want to do instead of lifting the burdens of others. Being in Ethiopia made me realize that there are thousands of people out there suffering because of sin. And we as a Seventh-day Adventists have the solution to the problem of sin. I am convicted to do something about this. I believe it is God's desire that we all work together. Join us so that we may help them to have hope. Join us so that they may be trained, so that whole nation can be changed, and the world can see the truth that God has for this time. Join us in the movement of changing, preparing for Jesus to come.
We'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne.